Hello everyone, this is Liz from Woerden for KWPN-NA. Today I'm doing a barn visit at Coalcyn Equestrian in Oroville, California with Josh Albrecht. Hi Josh, thanks for having me.
Hey Liz, thank you for coming and wanting to learn more about our program here.
Can you tell me something about all these mares that I see over here?
Yeah, so these mares here are, most of our brood mares are out here in this pasture together.
Yeah.
They're out, this is a pretty good sized pasture, so they're out on the grass here and they get fed hay, but they hang out basically outside year round. And they are almost all KWPN registered mares, and most of them are from Deborah Harrison with Lyle Loomis Dutch Warmbloods is who we got them from.
Oh, that's awesome. And when did you start breeding them with mares, Dutch Warmbloods
we
mares?
had our first KWPN foal 3 years ago. He's coming 3 this spring.
Yeah.
And then we have a 2-year-old and several foals that are coming yearlings now. And then there are 10 foals due this coming year.
And why did you decide when you started your breeding program to go to Deborah Harrison and buy quite some of her older mare lines? What drew you to them?
I'm a young breeder, so I've just kind of started and I'm just up and going. And so I wanted to kind of try to play it a little bit safe. You know, her lines are proven. She's got older mares that we were able to purchase who have already had Grand Prix offspring and Grand Prix siblings and upper level dressage horses and that are successful and proven. And I'm able to look at what those mares have been bred to that created those foals and then breed similarly to that. So it kind of already gave me a baseline and a guide to start my program from, versus if I'd gone and bought these young modern dressage mares for say out of Europe or some of the newer young programs. I have to kind of shoot in the dark a little bit more as to how to do that while I'm still trying to learn. Whereas with her lines, it's more proven and there's those older mares. I also really like that her Gelders mares and her baseline mares, they're really strong and sound and powerful. You know, we live on a volcanic mountain, so everything is rocky and it's really hard, and they've got great feet and they can run on the hills and they can live outside, and we don't have to go out and blanket and keep them shod and all that. I mean, we feed them very well and care for them very well, but I don't have to do all of the extra excessive things that I might have to do with some of the more strictly dressage bred mares.
And what is your strategy to keep these older mares sound? Like, do you have special theory about how you do that?
So I manage them out because being out here on the pasture, if you look around, we've got hills and we've got grass and we've got a lot of space. We're very lucky in that regard. So they're able to be out and move around all the time, and so they get to move a lot. So we feed them out here on the hillside hay, and then the water trough is in by the barn and the gate. So they keep moving constantly, and then I try to feed a 100% forage-based diet with supplements. So a lot of hay, a lot of grass, and then when they need extra supplementation, we feed forage-based feeds, not hot grains. So just a ton of forage, keep their gut going, keep them healthy. And then I feed a platinum performance supplement to all the mares for their nutritional needs other than that. But they're outside, moving, and forage all the time.
Oh, that's awesome. And can you also tell me something about next year? What are you expecting from these mares? Like, where did you breed them to, and what is your breeding goal?
Yeah, so of my 10 foals coming next year, 5 of them are from our young stallion that we imported named Knox. He's coming for this year. We're hoping to take him for licensing once we get to have occurring.
He's Gelders, right?
Yes, he's Gelders. He's by Expression Sirius Parzival. And so he's a Gelders dam line on a dressage stallion by Vivaldi. So we have the dressage, but he's very Gelders in his type and the way and his movement and attitude. So it works really well. So we bred him to mostly Gelders mares and then a couple of more dressage mares, but staying in the Gelders line. And so my goal with that was, it worked really well to get a couple of the difficult older mares in foal, and then to keep really with the Gelders lines and to mix some of the Gelders lines from the Netherlands as well as Deborah Harrison's lines here in North America. So we have those 5 foals coming, and I think 3 of those are out of Gelders mares and 2 of them dressage type mares. And then I have a young mare from Deborah that's kind of a dressage mare, and she is over there, she's the bay, and she is in foal to Gennaro Platinum. I'm hoping for a real dressage foal there. And then I have 2 mares back here that I recently imported. They're Danish mares. One of them is a Jazz though, and the other one's a Dawn Schufro. And they're in foal to Dutch stallions, so they'll be real dressage foals. And then I have a jumper foal, a real jumper foal over there. That mare's the granddaughter Galabay. She's in foal to a jumper stallion, so kind of a mix, but mainly focusing on mixing the lines for dressage horses, with the majority of them being super amateur friendly, super sound and powerful and safe, and then a few of them being real upper level dressage foals.
Yeah, so that is your mix. And what are you gonna do with Knox next year?
Breeding wise, I'm planning on breeding him actually next year. I don't have any plans currently to breed him for any purebred Gelders foals, but I'm going to be breeding him to a few of my kind of hot, spicy dressage mares to kind of chill them out and calm them down, to make it a little bit more amateur type horses, because the market today is really for the amateurs, and the way he is, he really would have made it exceptional amateur's horse himself.
Okay, that's interesting. We're gonna see Knox later, right? Are you gonna ride him for us?
Yes, we'll pull Knox up later, and I'm gonna ride him and get him out, and we'll get to see him. He's down in the barn.
Okay, let's go. Hi, Josh.
Hi.
Can you show me around in your barn?
Yeah, so this is our barn. We have our hay and feeding area over here. This is our breeding stocks right here in the barn. I have calendars for a calendar for every month of the year, so we have shows and folding dates and everything on there. We have a repro board here so that we know everything there that's going on, when the mares need their vaccines and their shots, and when they're due, and when we bred them. And then any meds that the brood mares have to get are on the little board. We have a tack room in here. Very lot of stuff in it. And then this is the cross ties right here with the wash rack. And then if you come down here, you have the 12 stalls. So
12.
12, yeah.
Do they have their own walkout, turnout?
Yeah, so on this side of the barn, there's runs off the barn. They're 24 feet long. These are triple wide on the first stall. The rest of them are just 12 by 24. This side, the runs are 40 feet long. You go down to the stall, those guys are out. They have.
That looks nice. Oh, hello there. Hi, Espresso.
And then we have the 40-foot long runs here, and they go out into the big green pastures. So I don't know if you can see that. We'll go out behind the barn though, and we can look back there a little better.
Yep.
So they have the big runs, and then they go out into the pasture. And then we run the stalls. So the first 4 stalls in the barn turn into double stalls for the mares to foal, and then they have larger runs on them, and then they go out.
Do you let your mares always fall inside or outside, or does it depend on the mare?
We let them fall outside if I think they can. So I try to leave them out as much as possible, so they have the paddocks on the green grass, and they're out there from about daylight till midnight. We watch them out there, and then they come into the barn during like midnight to 6 or 7 a.m.
Okay.
So that we can watch them on the cameras inside the barn, and then they go out. And then as soon as the foals are born, as long as there's nothing wrong with their tendons or ligaments or anything in their legs that they can't, they go right back out.
Okay.
And they go back out into the mare herd. There are our paddocks back here. We've got some run-in sheds and paddocks, and then there's big young horse pastures out on the far side. And then these pastures right here connect to the barn so that they're
Okay. Yeah, they're all connected to the
barn and the run.
Yeah, and the runs. Hey, so Josh, can you tell me about, like, what is your core business here at Coalcyn?
So we have the brood mares and the foals, and then we also offer some other services. So I do young horse development, so young horses learning ground manners and then starting them under saddle. It's a little different than normally. They come here, we teach them ground manners, they go out so they get to live outside, and then we get them started in the round pen, and then I normally do like getting them exposed to life experiences out on the ranch. So the tractors and the vehicles and trail riding and water and the cows and the sheep and the dogs and all of that, and a little bit of dressage training, and then they move on to their more intensive training, unless they're going to stay here and ride with me and do. I show some young horses for people in dressage as well. Different problem horses, things like that mainly. We also have young horse boarding and ground manners available as well for those horses out in the pasture.
So you also take like sales horses?
Yeah, so we take sales horses, specific ones. You know, it has to be something that I think fits well and that there's a good market for and that can benefit from being in our program during the time that they are here as well.
And did you have like, if you get problem horses, do you use like skills that you learned from your time with the quarter horses and cowboy stuff?
I use the horsemanship and the kind of the real life experience to fix the problem horses. getting control of their bodies and their minds and getting their brains engaged, and then getting them out and teaching them about life and how to be smart and sensible, and a lot of the problems normally just clear up through that.
Oh, that's great. And how does I see you're now with Espresso, so he's your dressage, upper level dressage horse. So how does a training week schedule look for you? Or
well, I ride every day. I ride as many horses every day kind of as I can.
How many do you ride every day?
It depends, you know, if it's a slow day and I don't have a bunch of other things going on, 4 or 5, up to 12. If I can get up in the morning and that's all I have to do, just ride all day, I can ride 12 or so, plus feeding and care and all that. So it really depends. But normally they do, for Espresso, for example, he does 3 days of dressage in the arena street, just dressage, warm up, cool down, ride, train. And then he gets out every day in between to do something. So I either pony him off with somebody else out around the ranch, take him trail riding on the ranch, take him cross-country galloping. He does something every day. So he gets out every day and does something, but it's normally something just for his brain, not strenuous for his muscles, unless it's a conditioning day where we go galloping or cross-country or something like that. And the young horse program, depending on the young horse, is the same way. So if they're hot and spooky and sensitive, they get out every day and they go do something, not necessarily strenuous. But then if they are kind of on the calmer side, need some motivation, don't really like work, then they do 3 to 4 days a week, and I try to make it super fun and let them get a little bored in between so that they can kind of want to learn to work and want to do things.
That's great. And you also take him off property, right, to go train with Sabina? And
yeah, so Sabina comes, my dressage coach, she comes and with the dressage horses, she comes and coaches me either once every week or every other week. And she comes here or to a local arena and we trailer there to go. And then we also trailer the young horses off property to a equestrian park down the road. They go cross-country jumping, they have a big jumping arena. And not necessarily so much about the actual jumping as much as the fact that they will go over something and gallop around and get to do all of that.
And get exposed to trailering. So all the horses here get exposed to a lot of handling and trailering.
Handling. You get tied to the trailer while we're riding the other horses, and they just have to stand there tied and be patient with that, back in and out of the trailer, get along with the other horses, get lunged and ridden in a new location, and just being okay with it. That is life, and that happens.
Okay.
It's really important to them. Stallion that we imported from the Netherlands. He is by Expression, and out of a mare that is a serious Parzival. So Expression is a Vivaldi dressage stallion, but he's a Vivaldi Vincent. So there's a little bit of Gelders in his dam line, and then there is basically 100% Gelders on Knox's dam line in his dam.
How was he to break in?
He was fantastic. We got him going and put the saddle on and did some groundwork and got on and rode him, and he never did anything. He's fantastic.
Oh, that's great.
He's got a great character. He's not spooky. He's not reactive. He's not barn sour. He's just lovely to ride. He doesn't get hot. He's a nice worker, but he doesn't get hot or anything when you really get him going and working. He's great. He's so fun and easy and simple, and his gaits, you know, they're not extravagant, huge gaits. He has really good gaits that are super nice to ride and simple and uncomplicated. So he's showing for the first time at a rated show next week, but he actually did a schooling show last May, and he went down center line in his schooling show. It was his 15th ride ever.
So Josh, you know, I'm wondering, how did you get into dressage? Because I heard you were more of a quarter horse person before.
Yeah, so I rode quarter horses and we used them on the ranch, but I really liked extra intricate things with them. Trying to teach them higher level things and upper level, what are now upper level maneuvers and things like that. So I had a lady who I'd taken a lot of lessons from and clinics from, and she looked at me and she said, you know what, I think that you would be really, really enjoy doing dressage, and that it would be a good fit for you, and I actually found you a coach, so you need to go take lessons. So I started taking lessons, and my coach is Dutch, and so that's kind of also tied into the Dutch horses and how I started doing that, and I love it very, very, very much.
Sabina Reisenbeek, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So, and what do you like most about dressage?
I like the intricate things. You can never ever run out of things to teach your horse. You can just keep going and going and going, and you always, you know, Grand Prix is so hard to achieve. You never ever have to worry about running out of things to do. And then even if you get to Grand Prix, you're going to spend the rest of your life trying to make it better and more perfect and more precise. So you can always keep going, and there's always things to work on.
You imported him from the Netherlands, right? So what made you want to import him?
Yeah, so I saw Chelsea Sidley has a stallion named Finale that is absolutely awesome. I just love him, and he's so fun to see at the shows, and he's really Gelders. So I've always loved him and admired him, and my coach admired him. And so we decided that, well, she called me at like 10:30 one night. I was out here doing chores, and she said, okay, you need a stallion. Do you want a stallion that looks like Finale? That is really a Gelders stallion and really impressive and cool. And I said, of course, why? And she said, well, I found one. And I had to figure out how to pronounce his name. So he was Nidian von Heemstede.
Yes.
And he is Gelders Damline with a dressage sire side. So we decided that that would work really well if he could get licensed, because he could go as Gelders, but he has enough dressage bloodlines in him that he can really be used to breed dressage horses and to do dressage, because that's what I do, so that kind of fit.
Do you think Knox will be a good Grand Prix horse?
I hope so. He already shows a really good ability to sit and collect, and he is super, super willing, has everything super easy for him, and he just says, yeah, okay, let's try that. So I believe so. Time's gonna tell.
I see that you have an indoor arena being built there?
Yes, they started construction on it this week, and it's supposed to be done in 6 to 8 weeks. We'll have our indoor done. Is Espresso. He was bred by Chelsea Sidley, and he has a Gelders dam line, 100% Gelders dam line with a German dressage sire. So we're hoping to do that. That's a young rider. We're hoping to do the young rider FBI St. George test with him.
I know that you've been to Kentucky with Espresso. Can
Yes,
you tell me something about that?
Yeah, so I went to the U.S. dressage finals with Espresso. It was in Lexington for 4th level in the young rider division. So it was the first year they offered a junior young rider division, and we qualified by winning the Region 7 championship in 4th level. And then I took him to Lexington and competed with him there, and he finished 6th in the final and won a couple of the preview classes before that.
Josh, so who do we have here?
This is Coalcyn. She was bred by Deborah Harrison. She is a daughter of Deborah's mare, Gisela, who was a full sibling to her Grand Prix licensed stallion, Isilmer. And her dam, Gisela, brought 6 upper level offspring, of which 2 was Grand Prix. Coalcyn is turning 25 this year, and she is in-foaled our stallion, Knox, actually.
And who is she by? Like, what are her bloodlines exactly?
She is junior. She's by Junior STV.
Yeah?
And so we're kind of excited to see the Gelders with the junior mixed with Knox, with his Vivaldi and the Gelders from the Netherlands mixed in there with that. And then, yeah, this is her. So I feel like she's in great health and condition for her age. And I attribute that to the fact that we're able to manage them out and that she's always moving and she's always eating in forage-based diet as well as the platinum.
She looks great. So you also have her two, like her daughter and her granddaughter, right?
Her 14-year-old daughter, Karamia, that I'm going to breed in the spring. And then I also have her granddaughter, who is out of Karamia, Laser, who is a UB40. And they're all big chestnut mares. And we're planning on breeding those 2 in the spring as well.
That's awesome. So we're also going to watch Laser later, right?
Yeah, so we'll get to see Laser in a little bit as well.
Okay, awesome. Let's turn her loose.
She is a granddaughter of Coalcyn. So we saw her earlier, and she's a UB40, and her mother's a Facet. So she's a UB40 Facet Junior. And I think what's so cool about her is, you know, you look at her, she's really modern and dressage in type, but her dam line is really actually goes back to Gelders. So we get a lot of power to her and a good brain, but we get the little more hotness of the dressage horse, and she's more modern and legular type. So I'm going to turn her loose and we get to see her. And her filly Regal. Luna is by Uphill. And then Zeolite Vosmer. She comes from Deborah Harrison's Fare Thee Well line, which is, I think, a super awesome line in regards to Grand Prix horses as well as amateur friendly horses. And then the filly is by Chelsea Sibley's stallion Fanal, who is contested to Vosmer. So we get this filly would be line bred on Vosmer back a little bit. So super cool for the Gelders, and she's got a super sweet, fun, happy personality, not spooky or difficult in any way. So I'll turn her loose. Oh, and then Aluna is in foal to Knox, so we're gonna have a Knox foal from her next year. Var Fair. She is a 23-year-old mare that I bought from Deborah Harrison. She is out of Deborah's Fare Thee Well mare, who had 4 Grand Prix dressage offspring. She has 4 Grand Prix dressage siblings, as well as she produced a Grand Prix horse. And this is actually the first mare I bought from Deborah Harrison. When I met her when I was there, I just fell in love with her. I just thought she was amazing and had to have her. And as you can tell, even though she's 23, she feels very good and just feels great, very sound and very active. And yeah.
She's in full, right?
Yeah, she's in full. She is in full to Knox. She is due in July in full to Knox. And then I also have a daughter of hers that is in full to Gennaro Platinum.
Oh wow!
So continuing with that line, and then we did ICSI with her. So the where they go in and they pull out the oocytes and grow them in a petri dish and then fertilize them. So we have a whole bunch of frozen embryos from her from Apache and Ibiza.
Oh wow!
So we're hoping to use those at some point, and then we'll breed her again this year because she is obviously
amazing,
still kicking to go and keep going. So we'll turn her loose and let her run around.
So Josh, thank you for today. You seem like a very passionate young rider and breeder. I'm curious what your vision for the future is with your business. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I am hoping to continue breeding my mares and developing from the mare lines that I kind of talked about today and showed you some of kind of my own mare lines and mixing those together and using Knox, and we have a young stallion hopefully coming up in the future, and I'm hoping to show. I would like to breed my own Grand Prix horses for myself to show hopefully someday in the future, as well as to breed horses that are suitable for my clients and amateur horses and horses that are really versatile and fit in today's market, because I think today's market is people want an upper level horse that's really pretty, really fancy, but it needs to be sane and safe and sound for a long time, as well as not too over the top in regards to the care and maintenance that they require. So my vision for the future is I'm hoping to breed the horses here on this ranch where they run out on the hills in the pasture and grow up as horses should, out and in kind of their natural environment, but highly handled, and to hopefully be able to develop those into sane and sensible dressage horses in the future for people while developing my own mare lines and my own personal riding horses.
Well, that's awesome. That sounds great, Josh. We wish you a lot of luck and keep us posted, okay?
Yes.